right, good morning, guys. So earlier this week, we already had an amazing time where Monday, basically, AMD, right? So AMD, this call that I had suggested doing, 142 call for November 12th, uh, skyrocketed like insanity, right? It went all the way. Contracts were literally at 2.6 right here. I had bought 10 of them, and the next morning on Tuesday, sorry, I bought them on Friday actually. So this is an alert from yesterday, but this same contract was also alerted Friday. And when we picked it up, at that time, it was also around the 2.6 space. Let me see where I mentioned it. And I picked it up on Friday. Monday morning, that shit went up like crazy, right? And we were in it. It was amazing. It went up so much that it was a little scary. So I sold most of it at 3. I got rid of it at 3. And then after that, it skyrocketed all the way up to 10. Right? And let me see. Yeah, right here. See this AMD 142 call. Look at that. Right? I sold, you can see, I sold 8, and then the last 2 I sold as runners at 3, and then again at 2.6, where you can see it dipped a little, which of course you never know what's going to happen. And then after that, of course, once I was done unloading everything I had, this first bump occurred, and then this bump occurred, and it just kept going. And the amount of power this contract had, it went up to almost 600% plus. So that was already an amazing start to the week where, as you can see right here, Julian is making fun of me for not being diamond hands on those contracts. So, again, that was an amazing play. But you can see right here from the heat map, yesterday was a fatality day where people really could have looked at this graph and just really gotten calls on J&J and Pfizer and profited there, but that was about it. And then everywhere else you would have to get puts, like Google died, Amazon died, right? You can see Apple and Microsoft also died. So the tech industry was not doing well at all, pretty much all red. Communication services, pretty much mixed, but majority, you can see the bigger boxes are red, the ones that actually carry communication device services. The only green you're seeing is a little bit on the bottom left in the financials, somewhat, and then healthcare. That's it. Right? Utilities, not really that big of a play though, so you can't really do much over here. Let's see how that looks like today. Coming back to plays we can make today, starting from, where's the post? Yeah, right here. Yeah, that was yesterday. That was also yesterday. Let's come back to the bottom. All right, so for today, we're basically trying to see how things recover, right? So I wrote here, yesterday was a day where you could have practically shorted the whole market. Like literally everything was dying down, everything was going downwards, and it was a pretty weak day for the markets. And today's a holiday where the banks are closed, so keep that in mind as well. Earnings are always happening. Crypto is always moving around. And related to crypto, I found something that I want to talk about as well. But a firm was crazy yesterday. It was dying, and then during after hours when the earnings report came, it just skyrocketed nearly 30%. It went up, and we're interested in seeing what it does today. We definitely want to see what it's going to do today as the days begin. But you can see like the whole red aspect of things that were happening, it just swallowed it all back up. Right now it's sitting at 164.26. We want to see if it can keep going, if it can break through to prices above 170. So we'll have to see if it can have that. And remember, BHV, break, hold, and volume. You gotta have all 3 of those things. Hey Ali, what's up, mate? Been hearing serious chatter about ARTL, even though it's been showing signs of ups and downs for a week. A good chance of a cancer drug will be approved. ARTL. I haven't heard ARTL being mentioned on any of the servers I follow, but let's see. Artello. Oh, but you see, like, this is so there are so many pharma stocks that look like this, right? Where they have huge bump and then after that just slowly withering down and dying. And then near the end they end up starting like coming back up again. Not that it really means anything because then it can just easily as resume dying. So at the end of the day, not all stocks follow trend patterns, right? Not all stocks follow the patterns we look for with like cup and handle and stuff like that. Some stocks are heavily just related to trends of what's actually happening in that market industry. So like this is healthcare, you would have to see what's happening with their research. Uh, I haven't really looked into what they're doing, but looking at the fact that this is a plant derived medicine they're trying to utilize, what happened here? What was this special thing? Oh, they got a new staff. Okay, 63% for some reason. This is huge, right? Why would it go up 63% that day? That's insane. I would want to catch it go up 63% again. Yeah, but they don't. This is an article made to just. It's like clickbait article. They didn't really tell me anything. So again, I would have to look into what it is they do, but I'll leave this here and I'll come back to it for sure because I would want to see if I can catch another 60% catch there. After a firm, we have Netflix, and Netflix, this was doing its basic little bit of falling up and down, but overall has been doing a good job kind of coming back up, as you can see from the chart. Um, it broke down the triple inside day and continued to make lower highs and lower lows for the past few weeks. It's been just not that good to begin with. Like if we look at it right here, even on Robinhood, um, I look at everything on TradingView and Thinkorswim, but for streaming purposes, I have to utilize Robinhood because it's the simplest streaming oriented kind of a thing. So right here you can see Netflix had its debut of like when they made certain announcements, and then it started skyrocketing towards 700. Probably actually did touch 700, but then it's been dying down, right? And now we're waiting to see if it's going to try to make its return to 700 because over the week it's down 5%. And I would imagine it's going to go down a little bit more before it continues going up. Because usually up to here, it was just making roller coaster rides, right? And then from here, it started to really go up where Netflix was kind of doing a lot of new things for themselves. But generally speaking, we're more inclined to grab puts. Just keep that in mind. While the market is still shitty, if you're ever thinking of buying calls, or just think of what's happened in the past for you already, right? Like if you bought calls and then it started going down, and you were like, shit, I should have gotten puts. That's an indication that it's time for you to just buy puts, no matter how much it looks like you should buy calls, unless it's like solid and multiple people are saying get calls, right? So at this time lately, ever since COVID, really, but ever since COVID, they're having intermittent months where it's a month of death and you just buy puts. Yesterday was one of those days. Today may also just be one of those days, right? So puts it is. Shopify, same kind of thing, is doing a really good job kind of finding new balance. On the daily time frame, Shop has retested the wedge break out and held above it so far. So you would want to see kind of a break with a good amount of volume break through and actually get above. So put the numbers there for you guys, right? 1469, above 1469 or below 1400, you can buy calls and puts. That's the general idea there. And then there's Chewy. Chewy's always been pretty good to me. Right? Anytime I've ever bought calls or puts on Chewy, it's been pretty good to me. In fact, the only two stocks I always say that have never failed me are Chewy and Penn, Penn. Both of them, when I know they're going up, or it looks like they're going up, they're definitely going up. And when it looks like they're going down, they're definitely going down. Right? So that's like promising profits right there. Um, Chewy has had its time, especially during COVID when people were just, getting pets and staying indoors, that it just skyrocketed, broke 100, right? Then it started dying, hasn't really been able to break 100 again, and now it has a smaller lump over here, which to me indicates that the next lump is going to be even smaller. I can see this falling even further today. I can see this falling further to basically around the 65 range, and then maybe it'll bounce back up. But again, these are all news that you can't really 100% predict because given any second, Chewy can have good news, something they started doing, different kind of delivery service. Maybe they partnered up with some new company, and then it just skyrockets. So you got to go light on any plays you make. Any plays you make, go light, right? You're better off buying only 1 to 2 contracts and enjoying the profits there rather than buying 10 contracts just to find out it dipped, right? So keep it safe. Keep it safe, because if you buy 2 contracts and it dips, it's better than losing 10 contracts that dipped, right? So you got to keep in mind risk, right? If you have a $25,000 account and you're day trading, you're good to go. You want to go light. Your goal is to grow that 25K to 30 to 35 to 40 every week. You want to be able to at least make $1,000 a day, right? That's the dream. If you're a serious day trader and you're like signing up for accounts, paying for Discord servers. Now, my Discord server, you can see I follow a bunch. I listen to all their calls, right? And then the same call, if I see the same call in multiple channels, I know for sure that has a very promising result. And that's what I share. In my Discord, I share things that are very safe, right? All the alerts I send out, like yesterday, I sent out many alerts. So if we go back to our day trade alerts from yesterday, I said to buy the SPY 467 call, right? And then I said do the AMD call, but I also gave a stop loss. Right? As soon as AMD came under 141.7, we didn't continue with it. I had hope that AMD would break out. It didn't. It fell below 141.7, sold it, took a little loss, but it was okay because you already know that we had AMD 142 calls before that really went all the way to 11. For me, it went all the way up to 3.5. I made 100% profit on it, and I was good. So I was playing with profits. Playing with profits is safe. If you're going to do something risky, you should do it with profits. Don't do risky shit with your own money. Use profits on the day. So there's a lot of key things to keep in your mind when you're going through this decisions of what to buy, what plays to make, and stuff like that. You probably already noticed that a lot of the weed-related stocks have been going up big time, right? So weed-related stocks are doing a good job. You want to make sure that you grabbed it if you haven't already. So like Sundial, I already played. GRWG, Blink, and CLH are on watch up next year. So keep an eye on these guys for movement. And always remember BHV, break, hold, and volume. You want it to break whatever price target you're thinking of. You want it to hold above it, and you want to see volume, because if you see people that are, you're hoping that the volume is green, but if you see there's volume, then there's a good amount of those people that are actually buying. So it's going to keep going up. Other than that, general news stuff. So I always post the news and data stuff, and then key stocks that are on watch for other reasons. So driving force behind Wednesday's losses. Why did everything go so bad yesterday? Why did the market bleed so hard yesterday? That's because U.S. Consumer Price Index is rising 6.2% in 12 months through October, the highest annual rate of inflation since November 1990. And I was born in 1990, October. So the rise in prices was both broad-based and higher than expected on a monthly basis, and that inflation is always scary. Inflation, you have to remember, if someone tells you that the market's about to crash, what are you going to do? Sell all your shit. So there was a lot of selling off that happened yesterday, right? Crude prices weakened on Thursday, continuing the previous session's losses on concerns. The sharp rise in U.S. inflation, boosted by high energy costs, prompting Biden administration to release more strategic stockpiles, which we already know Biden hasn't really been able to successfully do anything good, right? Like, it doesn't matter if you're a Biden supporter or not, just sheer logic is enough, right? If you look at Biden, he hasn't really been able to do anything that anyone can say, oh yeah, he did this, and I'm so proud of him for that. That's my president, right? He hasn't done anything at all, and it's very disappointing, and it's quite sad on that matter, And then the last news thing, 10-year benchmark treasury yield rose 10 basis points on Wednesday in response to these numbers, showing a broad-based and faster-than-expected rise in prices and undermined a subsequent auction of 30-year debt. So things are looking very bad for the market as it is, and it's just it's very unfortunate. Also, really interesting to see how AMD did. Even though you can see right here, we had a stop loss of 141, right? So after that, it dipped more, came all the way down to 139, and then had I held those 142 calls, so let me see. Yesterday, I bought 2 contracts at 2.01. And then I had to sell them at 1.75 because it hit my stop loss. But had I held those 2, waited until the end of the day yesterday, and then gotten a bunch of calls, maybe pick up 3 more contracts at that cheaper price, having a total of 5 contracts, I would probably be green today. But I didn't do that. One, because I don't really want to risk it in such a red market. If it was a decent market, I would risk that. That would be a good play because then today it would be up. But this could have equally had just been bad. Like we could wake up and AMD could have been pointing further down. Right? So I would just be poor overnight and I'll start my morning with a really red break, and I didn't want that. Right? So you got to think of that before you make such plays. Respect your stop loss, have a stop loss, and play with the stop loss. If it hits your stop loss, you could watch for a little bit, just see maybe it'll go down like 2 points below your stop loss and then come back up. Otherwise, if you actually inputted a stop loss, then yeah, it'll just sell immediately as soon as it gets there, and you can keep watching. Maybe it'll start reversing back up, and you can get back into the play. So that's something to keep in mind there. Tesla finally showed that Musk sold around 4.5 million shares over the course of 3 days, somewhat more than the shares he acquired through exercising options previously awarded as compensation. So he really did a huge sell-off on Tesla. But now Tesla is at a price range where it's very unlikely that Tesla will really ever come down below 900. Very unlikely. So like if we jump over to Tesla right now, and you can see that even now, whenever this finishes loading, 143, what a joke, right? 1100. Look at the gap up it has. Like it literally made back up so much overnight. That's insane, right? It's like it's refusing to even go below 1,000 right now, but it'll probably never go below 900, and that's something to keep in mind. So if it ever, we want to see how low it actually does end up going because it's now trying to find new footing, right? With this shaky market of things and weird things happening in the stock market in general, we want to see where it can find new footing, and then that's going to be the support we're going to work with and try to grow, calls towards the new resistances it might have. Disney reported the smallest rise in Disney Plus subscriptions, and that's not good. So disappointingly, it just didn't have the earnings it wanted. Disney Plus, as well as everything else that's similar to it, haven't really had massive success because people that are home now are no longer sitting at home to watch TV. That's just not what they're really doing. Ever since the pandemic started, a lot of people were sitting at home streaming, relaxing, getting fatter, this and that. Right now, people that are home are traveling or working from home or coming up with fun things to do, going to the gym. Everyone's doing anything but streaming stuff, right? And then you also have to understand the way the internet works. There's a million ways to stream things for free. So, Disney Plus, not the most successful. Netflix is doing better than Disney Plus, if anything. A firm we talked about, SoFi, the financial tech company, recorded strong quarterly earnings among strong growth in members and product uptake because they give you loans and people need that as they're trying to develop into new businesses. And then there's PSFE, PaySafe, the online payment processing platform backed by Blackstone and CVC Capital Partners. It actually ended up posting weaker than expected quarter revenues and lowered its full year profit forecast. All in all, very nice rebound for futures overnight. If yesterday was a short-term bottom, I'd say that it's a nice pullback to set up for higher highs into the holidays. Right? So I'm sure that, I'm expecting that a lot of companies that make things that people buy on holidays, like AMD making chips for all kinds of computers and laptops people buy during holidays, are definitely going to skyrocket. I look forward to AMD approaching newer highs, even newer highs as we go into December. That's what I think will actually happen with AMD. Let's see. Right now, it found its footing. It was able to go all the way up to 150 for the first time ever. That's an all-time high for AMD. Now we want to see, it's going to keep going, and it's going to most likely hit 200 by December. So we want to be part of that. We want to get those calls, and we want to be part of that. Keep that in mind for sure. Keep an eye on that. And that's about it. So we have about 10 more minutes, 9 more minutes until the market opens up. Get ready. I'm going to send out those alerts. We're going to go into these plays. Just remember to respect your stop loss. Keep safe with your money. Cash is a position, so you don't need to play a different position if nothing is looking good. And just stay alert. Stay alert on what you do. If the market is shifting in different ways because of SPY QQQ, then you got to be careful and get out of the play if you're not actually playing in that direction. All right, so thanks a lot for joining today, and I'll see you guys in the Discord server.